Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the Frugal Homestead. So today we're going to talk about ashes from your wood burner and ways we can use them around the homesteads or the property to kind of improve upon and to use a product that basically is just a waste product to most people. As with anything in the frugal living homestead style lifestyle, we don't want anything to go to waste. We want to maximize every single thing we possibly can. Now I'm going to go through just a few things that we do around the homestead to use ashes. May work for your situation, it may not. Obviously where you live, everything's different. So let's get started. Alright guys, so the first thing we're going to start off talking about is the driveway. Now obviously right now we don't have any snow or ice out here, but when ashes mix with water, they become caustic. It almost heats up. If you have ice on your driveway and you really need it to melt, like if you're concerned about possible emergencies or you just can't get out or whatever the situation is, throwing some ashes down can help get traction and can help with ice melt and snow melt. But it comes at a big cost and you need to be aware of this. This is probably the most important part. If you put ashes on your driveway, it will soften your driveway, which could lead to bigger problems in the long run. Now I have done this because right there at the bottom of the driveway it turns into ice and then people get stuck all winter long that try and come back here that shouldn't, because I live back a private lane. Now, the trick of it is that if you have the ability, it works fine, but you have to go get like a stone dust or a crushed concrete or whatever you want to call it, and you spread that on the area when it starts to melt, and that'll harden the ground back up. It's just a double layer process. We try real hard not to use ashes on the driveway, but in a pinch, if you're stuck in and you need to get out, it might be an option. But with anything, this is information I'm giving you to use. You can choose how to use it, but know that you will probably get a softened spot if you start using this stuff on your driveway. So be careful about people telling you to use this stuff on your driveway. Just know that, like in our area, you can see the top coat on our driveway is that stone dust kind of mix, and we get it for like $8 a ton. So, you know, spreading that over top of it to us is not a big cost, but even us, we still try not to use it on our driveway, but it does work and we have done it. Now this one's not so much talked about in circles on YouTube and such, but I think it's an important one to include. If you have buildings that don't have gutters on them or additions, then you have dealt with the erosion that happens from snow and water and ice falling off of it and basically eroding out around the building. Now, using ashes mixed in with the dirt or piling ashes up against here and then covering them with dirt is a great way to use it throughout the winter to build up this ground. As you can see, we've already started down here putting some in because it forms a hard crushed shell. So that shell will harden up on top, and then that will give you a hard structure to pile dirt, chips, whatever, to compost down to build up this area to keep it filled in. It's just a free way to fill in the gaps. Another good option, as long as you're going very, very light, is to put it in the garden. Now it's important, like I just talked about, not to put too much or you'll end up with a crust and it'll choke plants out and it'll harden up your ground and go in the opposite direction you want to go when we're working our soil and trying to grow it into a more healthy and soft, hand workable system like we do with the Back to Eden garden. So yes, we do put ashes in our gardens, but one full pan like this will do this entire garden, if not less. So Go easy, go light if you're going to do that, because you don't want to crust up your garden. And if you push it too far, trust me, it won't hold water and it'll be really rough to try and work the soil. So another viable option is the compost pile. As you can see, we've got a pretty big one going here, and we could probably put a full bucket this size on this and not worry about it too much. The trick is, the moment you put it on, you need to mix it in and then you need to wet it back down some. The reason for this is, if you don't wet it back down some, this will actually leach the water and dry your pile out. You definitely don't want to do that. So putting it in, fork it in, add a little bit of moisture, you know, spray it down with a hose, or if you got some buckets that sit out to catch off your gutters like rainwater, give it a little drink. Like I said, make sure you mix it in good though, because we don't want to crust the top over and then dry it out. So when we're discussing this, there's got to be one thing that's always got to be mentioned about wood ashes, and that is you can make soap with it. Now, it's a primitive style soap, and it really does matter what oil you use to mix in with it and how you extract it and everything like that. I'm not going to get into all that because we already made a video on that. I'll link it in the description below. Now, in our video, we used a vegetable oil, just cheap vegetable oil. It worked, but I'll be honest with you guys, there was fillers and byproducts in that oil, no matter if it does say 100% vegetable oil. So vegetable oil basically makes a really poor carrier oil for soaps overall. I would suggest going with a more wholesome oil, you know, like a grapeseed oil or coconut oil or something other than a vegetable oil. That said, even with a vegetable oil, it makes a pretty solid product. I mean, maybe not the prettiest in this situation, but basically a good oil-based soap. Now, what I have to tell you about making soap this way is this stuff scrubs your hands. Okay, this stuff, we had a whole bunch of it and we gave it all away when the whole situation with the world the way it is now with pandemics and stuff, all this got given away because it breaks down oils and fats fast. Okay, when you're breaking down how the current situation works, cleaning your hands is paramount, and this stuff will clean your hands. We're going to be doing another video to how to make a liquid hand soap version with this, almost like a cream, in the future, so be looking for that video. But turning wood ash into soap is a highly valuable skill, honestly, because there's nothing you can buy in the store really that can clean the way this stuff cleans. I wouldn't suggest using it on your dishes or clothes or anything else like that, but just basically on your hands. You know, I probably wouldn't use it on my body because of the fact that it has a very big drying factor. It dries out your skin a little bit, but that's because it's stripping all the oils and cleaning extremely well. So just some ideas of ways you guys could use wood ashes around your homestead, your property, your farm, or even if you live in town. I mean, why waste something that we can use? Now, if you like the video, please take a moment, go down and hit that like button. It helps this video get promoted in the algorithm, which shares it with more people so we can all kind of live a little more frugal, a little more useful existence, try and use everything to the best of our ability, cut down on waste, and just make everything in the world a better place. Now, that said, if you haven't subscribed already, please go down and do that. Hit that notification bell so you'll be updated every time we release a new video, and we'll see you in the next one.